Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
And George has finally seen some shit. He's seen Die Hard. He's seen Die Hard. I mean, really, he's seen all the movies that we need for an American male to see.
Yeah, so we're done.
So, I mean, I guess we're just... Yeah. George, how you doing, man?
Great, man. Kane Hodder threatened my life this week. That was pretty cool.
Kane Hodder threatened your life, and Kevin Smith...
Kevin Smith broke my balls in Kevin Smith form in 9 minutes. He could have told me to F off in 3 seconds. And he spent 9 minutes telling me to F off.
He spent some time uplifting you. He acted like a moderator, you know, even a mediator, if you will, between you and I as to our disagreements about Kevin Smith's epic National Archives. What did he say? The Library of Congress has clerks now.
He kind of like nonchalantly said it.
He humble bragged you
now.
a little bit.
It's
But he's right and you're wrong, so I guess it's all good.
I wish he knew that how much of a fan I was, but it's fine.
Oh.
One day.
But it's good to be noticed, even if it took a cameo to get us noticed. I'm perfectly happy.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, like
cool.
I said, eventually we can bring that cameo up when we get to talk to him one day.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Although, from what I hear, if you say Kane Hodder's name 3 times, he appears on your doorstep with a machete, so...
I believe it.
That happened to me, so yes, it's true. True story.
It's a wonder you survived.
He followed me to a Friendly's. No, I'm kidding.
You don't have to be the fastest person. You just have to be faster than the person you shoved down.
That's true. You gotta pull a Shane, trip somebody.
Well, boys, a little update for you for the season. I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 3 today.
Ooh.
I broke down
For what reason?
I broke down and eBayed myself that 3, 4, and 5 pack that I talked about in that episode. Let me tell you, as I said, I hear 4 and 5 are good. I haven't watched them yet, but 3, you could skip 3, guys. There's not much to report.
Probably skip the other 2 as well.
I'll give you an update as I watch them. So,
all right, sounds good.
Yikes. Well, we're not going to make George watch Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3. Although it does make an interesting companion piece to Mulholland Drive. If you guys ever want to double feature that.
Have you ever seen Mulholland Drive?
No.
Okay, that's a good movie. You should probably see that.
I just like how he's like, it does make an interesting comparison to. It's like, it's a crap movie.
Poster was cool.
Dan can like pull the symbolism out of anything.
I think I turned George into a raptor just now.
He just pulled Howard Dean.
The millennials listening.
We're gonna watch Silent Night, Deadly Night, and we're gonna. I think Meg just left. Anyway.
Holy mackerel. Well, we're not watching Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 this week. Travis, what are we making George watch?
We are venturing down a genre of action films. So we picked...
What?
Something that is near and dear to most people's lives that have seen movies.
RoboCop 3.
Yes, RoboCop 3. The aerial assault.
Oh my God, flying RoboCop. Why?
What?
Why, God, why?
Is that a real thing?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
wow.
we are watching First Blood.
Oh, is this a wedding video? Is that what I understand?
Directed by Kevin Smith, right?
Oh, or Dario Argento.
I might watch that. As long as the acting's good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so...
First Blood.
1982, I believe. First Blood.
George, do you have any idea what First Blood is?
Nope.
It's not actually a wedding video, but it could be if you're brave enough.
Okay.
That's in the back room with the curtain when you go to the old Errol's rental place. You find that.
Or, any family video. Do you guys ever go to family video?
No.
I never go because I don't rent movies, but they have like a porn section even though it looks like
Yeah.
a Blockbuster.
Yeah, we back in the day we used to have that where you would go to Suncoast, I think, and Errol's, and they had a section.
Which I'm fine with, whatever. But it does totally explain. The one time I went to our small town video store and I saw this really scary looking guy with a stack of like 20 movies, and the checkout girl looked really uncomfortable. I just figured he didn't have Netflix and he wanted to watch a lot of movies. Found out later they had a porn section.
This was after Netflix? This was recently.
Oh, this was like 2015. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't Dante, was it?
Hey, you know, what Dante does in his spare time
That's true.
is his business.
He is cooped up in the store a lot.
I mean, it's a pandemic in a convenience store. Who knows?
Give me the keys. Sorry,
my
I have movie Tourette's this evening.
We probably ought to let George watch First Blood.
Yeah.
No, George, really though, you any idea what we're putting you into? Have you ever heard of this movie?
No.
Do you know who it stars or what characters are in it?
No.
Cool.
Nothing.
You're literally the last American male that doesn't know. So we're happy to do this for you.
I didn't know there was a movie called First Blood. Just
Oh.
I have no idea.
We'll have to
If
talk
Travis
about it.
didn't say action, I wouldn't have known that either.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like an action movie. Or maybe a horror movie.
Horror
Yeah.
horror film.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, guys, I'm going to spoil the movie if we don't. So we better. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Wheel in the cart.
Oh, squeak, squeak, squeak. Crash. Dead student. Oh, lawsuit.
Womp womp.
Womp, womp.
Top heavy.
I mean, aren't they all, though? You know what I'm saying?
Hey now.
Let's get to work, guys. I'll see you on the back end.
All right.
Well, George, did we do it?
Well, Dan, we did.
Yes.
Oh.
We got you to watch a Rambo movie, and you didn't know it was a Rambo
John
movie?
Rambo.
Yeah, you guys.
Keep that hidden.
Yeah, you hit it well.
Did you
Just
smile?
so our listeners know, they wouldn't allow me to look at the DVD case. I had to have my wife put the DVD in the PlayStation.
It puts
and start playing it, and start playing it and pause it.
Right.
And then I was allowed to come in the room and press play and watch the movie.
Yes. And that's the way you should watch it, because otherwise you're going to know exactly what it is when you see
No
it.
spoilers.
That's
Until I saw Sylvester Stallone's name.
Yes,
in the
it
credits
is
in the
pretty big
beginning.
in the very beginning.
I was like, oh, yeah, he's in this. Okay.
I'm glad you didn't know it was a Rambo film, because even monks know who John Rambo is.
I mean, I know who John Rambo is.
Right.
But
You didn't know.
I didn't know. Yeah.
And what's funny is when I popped in the DVD, it said Rambo First Blood. Now, I remember when I was younger, it was just called First Blood.
Yeah, that's the actual title of the movie. But when they realized that now Rambo is a star and he makes all these movies, because originally it was Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Right.
Is the full name of Rambo 2.
Right.
But Rambo 1's just First
Blood. Right. So to me, when I popped that DVD, I was like, he's going to see that right away. He's going to know it's a Rambo movie. So I'm glad his wife participated.
Compliments
So thank
to
you,
Meg.
Megan. Shout out to you.
Hip hip.
She's
Doing her
on our
part.
side, yeah.
Now, my
That's good.
wife watched this movie last night,
Yeah.
and my
Did
15-year-old
she talk
watched
through the
it.
whole thing?
She did not.
Oh, good.
She enjoyed it. She said he was badass a
Mm.
couple times, and she was into it. Gabe left the room twice to throw up once, and he was nauseous once.
During the stitching himself up scene.
I think
probably.
it was a a compilation of the two. It was the arm stitch that he tried to avoid,
That was a good one.
and I said it looked real. I told him, I said it's not really bloody, but it looks real. And then the tourniquet scene.
Oh, really?
He hates that word.
No, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but I think because he knows what it is, he was expecting to see stuff, and I think I think it put him over
Yeah,
the
he
edge.
was expecting to see like fountains of blood.
Yeah, I mean, there was a
Yeah.
lot of off-screen stuff. So I was trying to tell him to just watch, but he gets very squeamish about medical things. So he's definitely not going to be an EMT.
Word.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
So that's a sign of a good movie if my son gets a little ghosted and queasy.
I will say that arm, the oozing blood effect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen some questionable oozing blood through our Friday the 13th journey. Whoever's running that effect is doing a hell of a job. Like, it's consistent.
I think they actually really cut him.
I mean, I wouldn't be honestly. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if they did.
It looked real.
It looked really real, but I assume always that it's fake and that they've just tricked me. But knowing Stallone, like, yeah, they might have just.
Yeah. Now this was what, 82?
82.
Okay, so it's right before Rocky 3. That's why he looks so ripped and jacked.
Mm.
He's not Rocky 1 pudgy. He's pretty ripped.
I haven't seen any of the Rocky movies either.
All right, stop tape. We're gonna watch Rocky.
I live 3 miles from Philadelphia. I've never seen any of the Rocky movies.
Yeah, that'll
That's pretty
be
sad.
We're definitely doing that.
Yeah.
So he had that. He was a star, but this was like his new venture into the action hero realm that Arnold had cornered.
Mm-hmm.
So he started this as well. I mean, he was Rocky, but he wasn't like the badass Chuck Norris type.
Right.
And this movie kind of put him in that category, and rightly so.
I want to talk about your expectations a little bit, George. So we didn't tell you what First Blood was. We gave you no background. You see the intro, Sylvester Stallone. Okay, you've heard of him. You know he's in stuff. Did it take until they announced him as John Rambo that you realized it was a Rambo movie?
Yes.
Now, when they said, what's your name? Rambo, John Rambo. Everybody talks like this because it's an action movie in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
When they got to that part, did you smile and squeal with joy, or did you roll your eyes and go, oh no, another action movie?
No, I mean, you guys did mention it when we were talking about Die Hard, right? So I knew a little bit of what to expect from this movie, action wise, but no, I didn't, cringe or anything. Like when I realized it was Rambo, I just thought, okay, well, I'm gonna see the other side of this coin, right? And I was kind of a little excited about that, and I didn't feel any certain way. I was just like, okay, let's watch this movie.
Now, do you think that the movie that you just watched, was that the movie you expected from a quote-unquote Rambo movie based on the reputation that Rambo movies get?
The last 20 minutes, yeah. But the first however long before that was much more subdued than I thought it would be.
It was survivalist Jason.
Yeah.
He was even in a burlap sack, dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Friday Part 2 with a machine gun.
With a machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm fine with. You guys know me. I love sack Jason. And I love machine guns. So what's up?
Yeah, I kept getting especially when they were hunting him down, I kept getting like a Predator feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was almost like, wow, this is a lot like a Predator movie, but it's just people. It's almost exactly.
Well, and George, you've seen Predator, right? So we can talk about Predator.
It was a very long time ago.
Yeah, I think
yes,
I was like, you were like a kid when we watched that.
I might have been like 10.
Well, because today I had the same thought, and I told Travis when he mentioned it earlier today, I said, save it for the pod, hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I had the exact same thought. I thought, oh my God, when they made Predator, they were just like, hey, remember First Blood? What if he was an alien?
Mm. But I mean, there's enough differences where you would watch that and go, oh yeah, this is a totally different movie, but the feel of it.
That segment, though, where he's attacking but
Picking
not killing all the sheriff guys, I mean, that's Predator. That is the movie Predator, just with Rambo instead of an alien.
Mm-hmm. But they do enough, like especially that last half hour, the psychological stuff, and they get a little deeper. So it's good.
The big difference obviously is he's human, right? And at the end, he breaks down, which Predator would never do.
Well, right? He does, but not in front of the camera.
So, but it's true. It's like he's like superhuman somehow. I mean, he's just a Green Beret, right?
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
a green
just
beret.
a Green Beret. No,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said it that way. No, he's a Green Beret, so he is superhuman. That's what I meant to say.
That's what's funny about all those lines. Like, if this was made today, a lot of those lines wouldn't have been throwaway.
Like what?
Just like I guess it was the David Caruso character, the one trooper that was kind of saying to Dennehy, who's the main guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, oh, you're in for it today. You know what what you're about to experience. Like, he kind of knew, and but they all those lines didn't hit or stick. Like, you heard them, but I think those lines would have made the ending would have had more gravity to it if they had made in the beginning the specialty that a Green Beret is. Like, he seemed to be the only one who knew. And if a lot of them were talking more about it, they just were like laughing it off because they're a bunch of, Washington State cops that they don't really care. But it's,
they had no idea.
The word I wrote down was pride. I even said to Gabe, I was like, if you watch these cops, the word pride just keeps popping in my head. Like, look how dangerous pride is. Because the Dennehy character was just full of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking escalation.
Yes.
Like, neither side wanted to de-escalate at all.
But
right.
both were capable. But they were both... His pride got in the way, and obviously Rambo's PSD got in the way. PTSD got in the way. PSD Photoshop. Graphic designer. But yeah, so for him, I don't think he, like he said at the end of the movie, he couldn't turn it off. You can't turn it off.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a trained killer, and even when he talks to, his superior at the end, and he's listening to that story about his friends blowing up in front of him, and couldn't find his legs and all that stuff, like, that was well played. He was just listening to that story, and you could tell in his face that he created this. It's him.
Yeah.
I'm at fault. I created this.
Yeah.
So, and then I don't know if Dennehy ever had that feeling because he created the whole situation as well. So the whole movie was basically cause and effect and pride.
Yeah. Can I point out that if we rewind back to Tommy Jason, remember how I said, if like Tommy Jason could be Tommy Jason and like the Jason could be passed on to Tommy through PTSD? That's basically what they did here.
Absolutely.
And did it seem a reasonable explanation for all this in this movie?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, right?
I mean,
Full
it's
Metal,
no
Full Metal
different than
Jacket
Silent Night, Deadly Night, right? Just
Stop it.
same thing.
Stop it.
He's trying. He's trying to wrench that in.
Punish.
But I keep thinking of Full Metal Jacket too. It's like that whole movie is based on the mentality of you've created killers, and then now you have to reap what you sow.
Sure.
Not everybody's going to be stable, especially when they go to war.
Or when they come back.
And when they come back, yeah.
One thing's for sure, we need to take better care of our vets.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we
That's
do.
what I thought at the end. Honestly, I was like, man.
Well, they take care of them way better now than they did back then.
Yeah, I know they do.
I had explained to Gabe, what the whole point of this was, that, these guys came home.
Yeah.
And they were spit. He mentions it in the movie, but you don't really hear it. They were spit. And whenever I see a Vietnam veteran, I always welcome them. I always say, welcome home, because I know what they went through.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. And this movie kind of puts that into perspective, because, you don't know what they went through. Most of them don't want to talk about it.
Yep.
And, the stuff they've seen, like Tom Savini always talked about it, and he puts that, his therapy is basically creating fake versions of real things that he's seen. And that's how he dealt with it, but not everybody comes through like him.
On a lighter note, Travis, your knife was in this movie.
Yeah, no. It was not as long.
Oh man.
But
it was
that knife,
only 18 inches, not quite up to the Michael Myers Halloween standard.
No, not at all. That thing was a machete. But that survival knife, that was huge back then. Like, everybody wanted that knife.
What did he say?
Because of this movie.
What did he say? What do you hunt with this?
Oh God, what did he say?
I couldn't tell what he said. I even
Do you know what he said, Dan? What do you hunt with this?
I should have had closed captions on. There were 2 or 3 times I had to rewind it just to catch a line here and there. And I think I'll blame it on the fact that I was watching the 4K version. You know, you guys love it when I talk about my 4Ks.
Nice.
I can't wait
But
for
it
5K to
defaults
come out.
to like,
Yeah, right.
it'll default to like 7.1, and I don't have a sound bar in there, so I really need to watch everything in mono or 2.1, and I miss a little dialogue here and there. Hey guys, it's Dan in Post. I just had to know, what is it that John Rambo hunts with a knife? And so here I'm going to insert the sound clip from the movie.
Don't be a wise guy. What do you hunt with a knife?
Amy,
Well, that settles it, guys. What does he hunt with a knife?
Amy,
Come again there, Stallone?
Amy, 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 Amy.
Well, I mean, it's perfectly clear to me, but just in case any of you don't understand Stallone dialect, which is its own thing, he says, name it, per the closed captions, because I couldn't understand what the hell he was saying, so I had to go back and turn on closed captions. So, what do you hunt with a knife? Name it.
Amy.
Yeah, okay. How he's going to hunt viruses and or flying birds with a knife, I haven't figured out, but maybe I just don't name those. Anyway, back to the show. But I hate to watch subtitles on action movies because it always blocks up part of my death and explosions.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
mind it if I'm watching an Italian flick, though. For whatever reason. Actually, you know what I really like to do, guys? If you want to know
Please
how to
tell me.
watch Halloween 78, the real Halloween, Italian language with English subtitles, it just feels right. It just feels right.
That's funny.
Just put that knife in and keep twisting it.
I like it.
It's good. It's a whole different movie, and at the same time, it's exactly the same movie. Like all the other movies called Halloween. That they
Are the
keep doing.
Italian actors as good in their delivery?
Of course not.
Yeah.
Although Annie's a little better.
Annie's a little better.
Poor Annie. We always pick on Annie.
Linda! Ugh. Such a whiner, man.
Oh,
is barking again. Anyway.
Somebody stab her in the throat.
Somebody,
Jesus.
somebody choke her and then stab her and no one sees it for 30 years.
Weird throat slit.
And Dan
Still don't
just sees it.
understand.
Oh, wait, he cut her throat? I've been
Yeah.
watching this movie for 30 years.
Took me 30 years to find that stupid. I hate that.
4K.
Yay! But Rambo looks awesome in the 4K with the HDR lighting, so the explosions are brighter and the darks are darker, and it's a lot, man. It's awesome. The scene in the mine is just like it's
That's
captivating.
a great scene.
It's so cool.
I forgot how good this movie was. Like, I remember being a kid, and I was like, oh, cool, I get to watch an R-rated movie, with my dad, and I get to sit and watch it. And I was watching it pretty much for the craziness of it, but to actually watch it now and get the character and the dialogue, and like you said, how well it's shot, and in the mine shaft, and you get to see the air pulling the flames, and you see how he's getting out as he's following the flames, like all that stuff. You're a kid, you don't think of that crap. You're just like, oh, cool, he's blowing things up. Yeah, good stuff.
He does blow the holy hell out of that gas station, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, no stone unturned.
Oh my God.
And the dealership next door. He just keeps blowing things up.
Yeah, that's when I was thinking, like escalation. Like, I'm like, does he really have to do that? Right?
Yeah, I mean, his pride got him too. I mean, he wanted to teach that guy a lesson,
Right.
and he did.
I mean, the whole time I was thinking, and this is analytical George. If this actually happened in real life, that Green Beret would disappear, and no one would ever find him. Right?
Well, he probably wouldn't have made it out of the police station.
Like,
In George's world, that would never happen. That's just true. He probably wouldn't have.
right? They got like too much. I don't know, too much honor, or like too much, like. Yeah, it's gonna take more than like a jerk cop.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. I just feel like those guys walk around. This is not in a bad way, but they just walk around like you can act whichever way you want. I really don't care. I'm a Green Beret, you know, like whatever is going on in this jerk cop's mind or, and his pride or whatever his issues. Like that's from the Green Berets that I know, which is none,
but
right. That's the feeling I get.
Well, you assume. I mean, like you said, they have an honor system that's beyond, I mean, civilians.
I've listened to a lot of like Jocko Willink videos,
right?
So I know how they think, or at least
you think
how Jocko does.
Right?
Yeah,
how he thinks. Well, I mean, he was kind of a cartoon as well, the sheriff, because like
sure.
you said, escalation. You were saying that when he's blowing up the town, I wrote one of the first things I wrote was, "Wow, that escalated quickly,"
right?
Because it went from I want to get something to eat to
yeah,
where it went, and I'm like,
right.
Okay, now he's being hosed down with a fire hose, and he didn't do anything. Like you said, I didn't do nothing.
Well, I mean, at that point he did.
At that point he did. But I mean, he was...
At that point he assaulted a couple cops. So.
But all the stuff that happened even in the drive to the bridge when he tells him, oh, that's 30 miles away.
Yeah.
Take a walk. Like that stuff, that was escalation. That was unnecessary.
Sure.
Let him have a sandwich. Like, yeah. So he was already a cartoon. And then all the cops were just parodies.
Bumbling idiots.
Yeah, it was almost like I was waiting for George to say, is this satire? Because it's like they were a bunch of Keystone Cops, but they were they thought they were badasses.
Yeah.
Did you catch that the name of the town is Hope?
No.
So when
did.
the sheriff drives him out of town, he takes him to the very edge
Of Hope.
of leaving Hope, and then he turns
Wow.
around and goes back into Hope.
Deep. I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
It's going for it, man. Like, that's the difference between this and Rambo 2. Spoiler alert. This one has a soul and a brain and guns. Lots of guns.
I think some of Rambo 2 has a bit of a soul, but it does not have a brain. Like they were just competing with Chuck Norris at that point, but the heart, the soul of it is the rescuing POWs. So it's like, I could feel for that. But yeah, it obviously goes off
the execution is not so adept. Right. I do like Rambo 3 though.
Yeah.
Don't know that it ages well, but it's a good flick.
It's like Red Dawn.
Oh, it's worse than Red Dawn. Although ask me again in 5 years, right?
Right.
Anyway, and then the new Rambo. I haven't seen the newest one yet, but the
newest
newer
one's
one
really good. It's
that
like
took
this
place in Asia. That was really good.
Yeah.
Gross, but like fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the character's written well. It's definitely not a one-dimensional character. So if you want to put feels in there, you can. Just like Rocky. I mean, Rocky's kind of like he's a fighter. And you can feel for him or not. But then when they put in the layers, then you're like, okay, now I get it. Now I know why it's Oscar award winning, as opposed to it just being a movie about a boxer.
The interesting thing about First Blood for me is it's a two trains about to run into each other situation where, neither side is willing to break and they're just on this collision course. And no matter what anybody besides, the Dennehy character and Stallone, no matter what anybody outside does, those two are going to collide and they're bound and determined to get through obstacles to get to each other. And at all the points that they could choose not to run into each other, they both fail that decision and just keep barreling toward each other. It's really interesting. I don't know if it's good, but it's compelling as hell.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the quote from The Dark Knight.
This is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Because it basically explains this movie. You basically have two freight trains coming at each other, and they're on the same track. And
well,
it's not going to end well.
It's an oversimplification of that whole thing where it's like, this is my country, but no, this is my country.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't see their shared humanity, so they just break it down into tribalism.
Whoa,
man. It's not good.
Yeah,
it's not healthy. Not a healthy dynamic for two folks.
Mm-hmm. Like that whole, I don't know, I would like to see some backstory on the sheriff and see why he hates Vietnam soldiers so much. Like that seemed like it was deep rooted hatred.
Well, he hates drifters, man.
Yeah,
He doesn't want people. He wants people tethered.
That's just a label.
He doesn't like them drifting.
But like you said, like when you think of a soldier who fights for your freedoms and whatever, and the pride in the flag and all that, like all those things that makes somebody join the military and want to fight for their country, to crap on that person when they come home for whatever reason. This is my country. Well, no shit, it's your country, but it's mine too, and I fought for it. So why are you treating me this way? Like I couldn't fathom that character as a real person without any backstory, like why he's that way. But like you said, yeah, I mean he's a mountain town cop who doesn't like drifters, so I get that. But it just seemed very deep rooted.
Yeah, it seemed like there was more there than just
like maybe an alcoholic
just
father
drifters.
who was maybe a soldier that used to beat his mother, something that made him almost hate him way more than he needed to.
I don't think you even need that, but I don't know. It's a weird thing, because like, it's like he was in a war, right? He supposedly,
but it was a war that they didn't like.
That specific war, he was supposedly fighting for his country, but that particular war, it's like not a very popular war,
especially in 82.
Maybe we shouldn't have gone over that. Like maybe we shouldn't have messed with that. I don't know. I'm not a historian on it, but what do you do with a soldier that comes back from a war that you don't believe we should be involved with?
Right.
Well, I'll tell you, the gas station explodes and then he lights a gun store on fire.
You know what I was thinking when that was going on, when all the bullets were going off and whatever in the gun store? I thought, oh, he's like using this as a distraction so that he can get a position and blah, blah, blah. And that didn't happen. Like, he didn't take advantage of that at all. It was almost like he was blowing it up for no reason.
It kind of got him in position to get across the street to the police station, right? I don't know. In a haphazard way.
I kind of felt like, well, I mean, because at the end of that whole explosion sequence, he's still on the ground,
right,
and the sheriff is up top, and he's still not in the good position that he wants to be in. Right. It's almost like he blew it up for no reason.
I thought
create
he did it
chaos,
so he could find. He knew in his mind, he knew that he was going to be up there, and he wanted to see his position. And with all that commotion, that would make him poke his head up and see what was going on.
So this was a theme. This is something that I thought throughout the whole movie. Another one of my analytical George points. I wanted to see more tactics, like from a Green Beret, like, things that you wouldn't think of.
Especially with all the dialogue, foreshadowing it.
I would have liked to see, and that blowing up an ammo shop could be a great tactic for something.
Right.
But it really didn't end up being anything. I was kind of disappointed.
It's almost as if the director of the movie was the same guy that did Weekend at Bernie's. I mean, it is exactly that, actually.
Okay, I think what I figured.
Because you're right, and I need to read the book, I guess. I have such a long queue of books I need to read because of this show. But
I didn't even know it was a book. When I saw it in the credits, I was like, oh, wow.
But yeah, I got the impression going into it that he blew up the gas station to draw the police to one end of town, and then he blew up the gun store to make it sound like he was actively firing so that he could create a diversion.
Right.
But the movie doesn't give you that.
Right, exactly.
They set it up, and it's almost like, did they not have the budget to drag that huge police response over to the fire? Because nobody goes. The town is a ghost town at that point. And I think it's just probably a budget and a health and safety thing, that for that scene, they just don't have any. I mean, the only people in town are him and the sheriff guy and then Colonel Troutman. So,
well, there's a bunch of stuff like that. Like, I thought when he stole the army truck, it was, You knew they were going to catch up to him.
Yeah,
Like,
coming in the passenger side and just hijacking the truck is not a good tactical thing
right,
to do.
Because and then you leave the guy alive, which means he can tell them that you have a truck.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Just like the hunter's kid, like you didn't knock him out, and he ran off and told on you right away.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But bad tactics you wouldn't expect from.
Well, maybe his heart got in the way. Like he didn't want to hurt the kid.
Please.
And then the kid went and turned on him. I don't know.
I
As
mean,
soon as it happened, I
you
was
can
like, yeah.
not hurt someone and still shut them up.
Oh, he could have knocked him out in 2 seconds. That's what he should have done.
Yeah, he could have put something in his mouth and
Even choked him out. Well, you know, that old game where you
just put something in his mouth.
no, yeah, so he can't. Yeah, whatever. You know what I meant. Put a rag in his mouth, tie him up, leave him there.
something, whatever you got on
Take him with you for another 100 yards and then leave him there.
Because he gave his position right away.
Exactly. Bad tactics.
Yeah, it's almost like again in Predator that comes up. You know, you give our position one more time, kind of thing. Like he totally gave up his position twice by just letting the person live and or walk.
Mm-hmm. And when he was on the top of that truck, all he had to do was just lay on top of it until it got to somewhere that was outside of town.
Which is done many times in movies.
Yeah, ditch it, and you're free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as soon as you kick that guy out of the truck, he's going to tell somebody you have a truck.
Right.
So I guess he didn't care because he did go right back into town with it.
Well, he knew he had an M60 at that point.
Right.
He wanted to shoot some shit.
Or as they call it, a Rambo gun.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. He's done more for the advertising of whatever company makes the M60 than
Yeah.
really interesting.
But
Interesting too,
he
because
owns
that's
it,
like that's the Huey door gun. So you get Full Metal Jacket, where you're essentially you see an American soldier committing a war crime, and then you get this movie where he's using the same gun on his local town. This movie is troublesome. I like it, but I think it does a lot of
It's
it comes
messy.
down to just it's a bunch of dick measuring. You know, it's the sheriff and then that awful deputy who's so trigger happy.
He was a pretty good actor. But again, he was one-dimensional. Like, you could totally assume what all these cops were going to do.
This movie, I love it until I think about it, and then I kind of don't love it. But then I think about the helicopter stunts and the... It's... I don't know, man. Do I like this movie?
It's an 80s movie. It's an 80s movie.
But it's smarter than an 80s movie, sort of.
Yeah. Well, I think the smartness comes from probably the book. Like you said, if you read the book, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of just treasure trove of information in that book that we're not getting in this movie. This
I don't know,
movie's
though.
a mess, but it's great.
The thing that... There's so many things that I could pick apart with this movie. But one thing that I will pick apart now for all of you, I think that the movie and probably the book are written in such a way that they're intentionally building this conflict between two armed parties so that it can escalate into this giant war.
Right.
But I think it would make a hell of a lot more sense if it weren't local county sheriffs. Because if there's anyone I know from experience who have sympathy and also empathy for veterans,
Yeah.
it's the local county sheriff. Like, it doesn't make sense for these two to be so at each other's throat, and so it feels artificial. And I think that's a lot of what we're trying to grasp at. Like, what is wrong with this sheriff that he's such a fucking dick when most local sheriffs are going to be
off the bat, like
helpful to veterans? And I know it's a different era, but even then, the county sheriff shouldn't be the one that it's not the natural antagonist of the drifter former soldier who's in grief and also suffering from PTSD.
But there wasn't even like the only time there wasn't escalation. Well, there wasn't no gradual reason for it. Like he was at 11 right when he saw him.
Right.
And it seemed strange. Like you're saying, you would think the local cops would have a feel for, veterans way before you get like these. The National Guard comes in. You would think they would have some kind of empathy too. And though they were a joke, I wrote down National Guard comic relief ?
Yeah, they were like the paintball crew from Jason whatever.
Like, how insulting that was.
Yeah.
And they're trying to show like, Rambo being a tough Green Beret is like the top elite military, and look how he looks down on everybody. It's just it's very sloppily handled. I don't think it was. You know what it strikes me as? It's like somebody with a bachelor's in English or creative writing felt like they needed to say something, and out came First Blood.
Right.
And they didn't
there's
take the
definitely
time to
commentary.
like, you have any military experience or pay a technical advisor or run it by anyone who's ever been in the military. And instead they
Yeah.
just wrote it based on what they feel from seeing on the news.
Yeah.
And then we got this movie.
You know what series does a really good job of highlighting a conflict like that, like you're talking about? Although it's not really a military veteran, but it doesn't matter. Waco, that miniseries on Netflix. Oh my God, that was such a good example of like escalation between two parties. You know, the government, the FBI, ATF on one side, and pick a character on the other who's just not willing to give up. Waco was awesome.
But did they have a guy fall out of a helicopter? Because that part was pretty cool.
They had a guy get shot and fall off a roof.
Eh.
And they spliced in actual video from the actual Waco incident into the miniseries.
Is that
It was-
exploitive or is that cool?
Oh, it was so good. So cool.
Well, okay.
Have to check it out.
I loved it.
How about those helicopter stunts, though? Does everybody else in this group get a little clinchy when they see helicopter stunts, or is it just me?
It's not just you. I was thinking the same thing.
I have
Like-
to assume the part where he's like, when the actor himself is on the helicopter, they have to be on a crane at that point. They wouldn't be risking an actor's life with an actual helicopter, but maybe in 82 they would. But there's a lot of good helicopter action in this movie, and it's scary.
You know what I was
Helicopters
thinking the
are
whole time?
dangerous.
It seems like helicopters are hard enough to fly not right next to the side of a mountain.
Right. The gorge. The gorge is not a place you want to be flying a helicopter, I assume.
So, yeah, I was thinking that. Definitely.
One of my favorite Italian giallo guys died in a helicopter crash making a movie, and it's just same era. It was like 83, 84. So it's just like, oh, just don't put anybody in the helicopter. Like, thank goodness for CGI, I guess, because now we don't have to do that, but yikes. Super dangerous.
Yeah, just ask John Landis.
Oh, man.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That was a helicopter.
Kobe.
Kobe Bryant, yeah.
Man.
Like, helicopters are dangerous enough.
Yeah, my dad told me about a guy that served during Vietnam that was a helicopter pilot, and he served like 8 tours or whatever, 8 years, and then came home and did flying tours and crashed the helicopter during the flying tours, but survived flying a helicopter in Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
No,
it's a
thanks.
funny thing about rotary wing aircraft, man. If your airplane engines go out, you're a glider. If your helicopter rotor goes out, you're a rock.
Yeah. A spinning rock.
Spinning
Yeesh.
rock.
But still, if I could fly Apaches, I would sign up right now. That'd be really cool.
It is
Yeah, it'd
pretty
be
cool.
I don't know if I could go up there, but it sounds cool.
You'd be like a mechanical wasp. Yeah. Covered in Hellfire missiles.
Yeah.
So, guys, you know what my favorite part of action movie time is?
Talking about guns?
Talking about guns.
Yes.
A lot
So,
of guns in this
Did
movie.
you notice the interesting, I mean, you may not have, the interesting armaments of the county sheriff and his deputies when they first go out, when they're getting their butts handed to them by Rambo? For whatever reason.
Yeah, some kind of carbine weapon.
Well, you got the guys, one guy had an A1 M16, so like straight up Vietnam era. One of them, in certain shots, it looked like he had a Car 15, like the shorter pre-M4 version of the carbine.
Mm-hmm.
But the really interesting thing was Brian Dennehy was carrying an H&K G3A3. Why? Like,
I was asking myself the same question.
what is he? I mean, it's a cool gun if you are. Why? I mean, I don't know. It's like an M14, like equivalent kind of, probably lighter weight a little bit. But like, what? Where did there would be different ammo than the other guns? Like the sheriff gets his own ammo stock. That's pretty selfish.
Yeah, no tactics at all.
Very strange. Very, very strange.
Very poor trigger discipline in this movie as well.
A lot of shooting that didn't need to be done, which, I mean, it kind of emphasizes the fact that these guys are somewhat incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it may just be that the movie doesn't know the details of what it's trying to say. It's just got this, like, thing it needs to say, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I think, the trap for this movie is it has some cool action parts. It has things that it wants to say, but it hasn't really earned or like worked out the details of how to say the thing.
So in summary, I would say almost the same thing that I said about Die Hard. Like, this was a movie. You know, it wasn't a terrible movie. It wasn't as good as it could have been. It wasn't, very realistic or whatever. Could have been better. Wasn't terrible. It was a movie. I guess it was worth the time. However, now after watching this movie, I have a better appreciation for Die Hard.
And that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know, would George think Die Hard was better because it's more fun? Or would he like Rambo better, First Blood, because it takes itself a little more seriously? Whether or not it earns it, it certainly thinks it's writing the best picture of 1982.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I had to pick between the two movies, it would definitely be Die Hard. Because they don't take the genre too seriously.
It's more fun.
In that
definitely.
movie.
Yeah.
And also, I keep coming back to that dynamic that you pointed out to me, Dan. You know, how like the working class people or like the boots on the ground are the only competent people. I love that theme. And, and that the action hero is, not invincible. You know how I like my heroes to be mortal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think Die Hard had much of a social commentary either. So that kind of took the gravity out of it a little bit. Like this movie, like you said, it has something to say.
Yeah.
And it's telling a story about PTSD and Vietnam War and all that stuff. None of that is in Die Hard. Right. Nor should it be. We don't even understand why the Germans are now terrorists and bank robbers. But there's no purpose in Die Hard other than it's just a fun popcorn movie.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it does have that whole boots on the ground perspective, which if it wasn't something you agreed with, right? Or if you felt excluded by that perspective, you might feel just as strongly as you sounded talking about the social issues explored in First Blood. It may just be that it doesn't affect you in the same way. But I imagine there's plenty of, FBI agents who watch Die Hard, and when those parts come on, they just go, oh, man, they had something to say, and they said it. I imagine that goes both ways.
Yeah.
Again, Waco, much better representation of what a incompetent FBI looks like.
But then, Silence of the Lambs, pretty competent. Even their trainees are catching bad guys.
I'm not saying that the FBI is. I'm just saying the representation of what an incompetent FBI looks like. Accurate.
There was no federal law enforcement in First Blood. Did you notice that? The highest it went was the state cops, and then Colonel Troutman.
And the National Guard.
And the National Guard, which is a law enforcement. The deployment of the National Guard so quick felt so fake. Like, I know they're trying to get there, but like anyone who's played Grand Theft Auto knows that that's a 5-star warning level, and he skipped right past 4-star. Actually, I think it's 5 and 6. I apologize. It's been a minute since I've played GTA 3 on the PlayStation 2. But yeah, so it's they skipped the 5-star warning level and went straight to 6-star. And I mean, the 5-star is the best part because you get to steal the FBI car. Did you guys play GTA 3 as much as I did?
No, no, definitely not.
Oh, dudes. That game was awesome. Back in like 2002? Something like that.
I was planning a wedding.
You're so old.
No, I was married then. Yeah, that's probably why I didn't play it. I got married in 2000.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you missed all the fun.
Missed all the fun. Apparently, the sheriff is a decorated war hero. It's mentioned in the book. So a couple answered questions.
That
fought in
actually
the
just
Korean War,
leads to
and
more
that kinda-
questions. That actually
Oh,
makes
really?
it less clear to me. What the hell is that guy's problem?
Yeah,
but
even more, he should sympathize.
I'm going to go back to, I don't know anything about the author of the book, so I should look this up. But I'm just going to put out here my guess that the author of the book probably got really good grades in college, and this is their first or second book that they wrote and never served in the military. Hey guys, it's Dan in Post. I finally got to look up David Morrell. Guess what? I was right 100%. He got a BA in English from a Canadian university because he's Canadian, not even American. Why is he talking about our business? Anyway, moved to the United States, learned later how to write fiction from a sci-fi guy, and this was his first book because he had something to say. But don't worry, he also wrote the novelizations of the later movies, which are usually made after the movies are scripted. Ew. Anyway, long story short, this guy's a BA in English, not in life, and he had something to say, but didn't take the time to learn how to say it accurately. Okay, back to the show. That's
they kind of
guess.
chalk it up as jealousy in a way.
Well, they do that. They do a lot of dick measuring in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's why Trigger Happy Guy is so
you know,
intent on, this guy insulted me, I must put bullets in him. And it's
Right.
like, you would never last that long as a deputy if every time you got insulted, you had to shoot somebody.
True.
That's not a sustainable character. So,
No,
I don't know. I have
not
problems
at all.
with this movie. And I guess I should look up who wrote it and what they did with their life beforehand that they'd have. But I mean, I never served in the military. But I know enough folks who did. And I've seen the dynamic of enough local and law enforcement. There's no problem there. There's no malice between those parties.
Mhm.
Those are cooperative parties. So what this movie's
Right.
trying to say, I just think it's based on a flaw. It's just a flawed concept.
I agree.
Fucking movie sucks. I'm just kidding. I like this movie. It just isn't good. It's
good if you
It's
don't
got
think
holes
about
in
it.
it.
Just
Yeah.
don't think about it.
Don't
That's
discuss
all.
it. Don't discuss the movie. Just kind of watch it and move on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good if you don't think
That was
about
the
it.
thing. Like when I worked at the
fine.
movie theater, we would meet in the parking lot after the movie and we would talk about it. And sometimes that would make you hate a movie that you thought you liked. Because you hear other people talk about it, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I didn't think of that. I do hate this movie.
what's that old Hitchcock thing where it's like there's going to be flaws in every movie, and so you want your audience to leave the theater happy, and then at 2 a.m. when they get up to get a snack, they go, "Oh, wait a minute," and that's when they hate it because
Yeah.
they already liked it, so they're not going to remember it as a bad movie.
Yeah.
But this is a fun watch. I like the experience of watching this movie. I watch it more frequently than I do the sequels.
Right.
I'll watch it again probably next year sometime. It's worth
definitely an
owning because
easy
I will
watch.
watch it again.
Yeah.
But, the difference between this and Silence of the Lambs, right? There's a lot of unstated or just undeveloped portions of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
The background of James Gum, what happened to Mrs. Lippman, what other places the bodies are besides maybe on that map, or maybe that's just the bodies on the map that we don't ever
Mhm.
cover. And nothing that exists in all those little areas conflict directly with anything else in the story. So
Right.
whether Travis draws the lines or I draw the lines, we're going to be able to come up with a consistent, well-told story, no matter what we fill in, as long as nothing conflicts. Whereas this
Right.
movie, there's a lot left unsaid, and there's no way to draw the lines without conflicting with some other dynamic in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
There's an alternate ending I watched last night. I don't know if you saw that on
To which movie?
to this.
This one?
How did
where,
it go?
He's in the where were they at the end? In the police department?
Yeah, he's in
Yeah,
the police
sheriff's
department.
office.
And the colonel is standing there and he asks the colonel to shoot him, to kill him.
Yeah.
He's like, you created me. Don't let them carry me out of here. And he does. He shoots him. He kills him. Shoots him right in the heart.
Ugh.
That would have been a great ending.
Oh, that's a
It's-
shit ending. That
It's
is
on the it's on the disc.
horrible.
You can watch it. Yeah.
horrible.
Now he doesn't shoot him like, fine, I'll shoot you. Like he puts the gun down, and Rambo puts the gun back to his chest. And when he goes to pull the gun away, Rambo grabs his hand, and then there's not a struggle, but there's an obvious pull of the trigger. That's not. It's almost like a mercy killing in a way. It's done well to where the colonel didn't shoot him. It almost looks like Rambo forced it, but he does die at the end. There would not have been a Rambo 2.
And that's why they didn't go with that ending.
Yeah.
But
Also,
I think
it
that's a
sounds
better ending
It sounds like a terrible ending. Tell me why it's a good ending, George. I want to hear your perspective on that.
because it's so sad.
Yeah, it's like suicide. It's basically a suicide.
It's the real story.
Yeah.
But is it sad, or is it like?
It's real.
I mean, I don't know. I guess the problem I have with it is him blaming the colonel for like making him what he is, where it's like it just oversimplifies it so much. Oh, hey, here we go. I just had to look because I just had to know. The author, David Morrell, let's see. He was a professor of American literature from 1970 to 1986. What? Oh, look at that. He was, yeah. No, that's what that is. That's what that is. That's, shoot me in the heart so they can check me for CTE? Like,
Yeah.
what? No, that's not. God. Ugh. No. 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 If you want to emphasize successfully the struggle of this John Rambo character, you do not have him put down by his government handler who made him what he is and to shoot him in the heart because that's where, no, that's bullshit. That's stupid author bullshit. No. If you need that ending, if you want to make that ending as an alternate choice for the director to screen to test audiences just to see what people like, there's 100 people on scene with guns, and he can just walk out and do a suicide by cop, or he can just commit suicide, and that would be just as sad. You cut the camera to, you do the Ellis kill from Die Hard, right?
Yeah.
You have the breakdown, and you have all this sadness. Hell, you don't even have to have it be a suicide. You have the sadness, you have the breakdown, the decent, almost good acting from Stallone, and then you cut to an outside external shot of the building, and you hear a single gunshot. Credits.
Right.
That's how you fucking end that movie.
Yeah.
All this like, put the gun in my heart where you made me, government man. No fucking soldier is going to talk like that.
Yeah, maybe the Private Pile death would have been good.
Private Pile death. Perfectly.
Yeah, no, I
fucked up
agree.
and acceptable.
Yeah.
I agree. I was when you asked me why it was better in my mind because he died at the end.
George loves the tragedy.
I love the
tragedy.
idea of Rambo dying at the end of this movie. What you just described, Dan, is a much better way than having the colonel do it.
Yeah.
I think that if Rambo thought that this world would be a better place without him in it, he would just take care of himself.
Doesn't seem like a guy who asks for help with things.
Right, and I think that is a very real thing that happens with veterans.
And it's a shame that dialogue that he gives is so good.
Yeah.
And so powerful, but it's like Dan said, it's kind of lost on a bad actor. I mean, I love Stallone. He is Stallone, but he's not hitting emotion like that.
He almost gets there though, and that's I think the frustrating part.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 lines that if he just did that one more time, I might have been 100% on board.
Yeah.
But all I can do is think about how many times I've seen people make fun of that scene.
Fun of him. Mm-hmm.
And it's just, they're right. I hate to say it because it's a well-acted scene for the most part. But the stuff that I've seen pointed out about, the legs and his, like, the pitch he hits at that point, like, you guys are right.
It's this heart. It's heart-wrenching to hear it, and that it's almost like it's a child telling the story. He has no legs, and he's like, I can't find your legs, like the way he was talking. But I think with somebody who has range, that's not Stallone range, but actual range,
Yeah.
the highs and lows of those lines. That, you know, when you do character study and you sit there and you put hash marks and cross hatches and all these things in a script, and, you know, this is where I'm going to inflect, and this is where, you know, I'm going to trail off, and all these different things, and this is when you put all that stuff into a monologue like that, he's kind of almost singing at one pitch. There's no up and down.
Yeah.
And I think that the dialogue suffers from that. That when you hear someone else who is good at giving monologues like that, and you just hear the pain. And you couldn't hear the pain in his voice because it was always at one pitch. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like I always tell Jen when the kids sometimes don't know when she's mad because her congratulatory voice is the same as her her reprimanding voice.
Mom, you're really excited that I wrapped the car around a tree.
I always say to her, I'm like, I love you. No, I love you too. And it's like, sometimes, you know, you gotta kind of bring it down, and that way they know you're happy.
My goodness. That's what she gets for always telling your kids that they don't know what pain is.
You're a pain. Yeah. Maybe we get somebody from Clerks to deliver that monologue.
You don't even know what pain is.
You don't know what pain is. It's almost like a Seinfeld.
Pain is.
Pain is.
Dante would deliver the shit out of that monologue.
Randall would too.
Randall
No,
be like,
Kev Smith would deliver that dialogue.
Randall be like, I found his legs. I was like, I don't know where your legs are. Your legs? I can't find your legs. I'm just holding my friends. My friend's stuck to my face. What? You know, his legs. They were laying on my head. Give me the keys, motherfucker.
Jeez Louise.
Shoot.
Well, now I hate Rambo. Thanks, George.
You're welcome.
I don't know.
You did the thing.
I think I like the character of John Rambo. I just don't like any of his movies. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. I'll go with that. I do like that it's essentially another slasher in the woods for a good 20 minutes there. That's fun.
Yes. I love that part. That whole picking them off one at a time but not killing them. But to let them know I could be killing you, but I'm not.
It's pretty...
Like,
it's a lot of dick measuring, though, right? Like, hey, mine's bigger, knife. Well, mine's bigger, machine gun. It's just,
It was hard to get past Tommy Boy's dad just being such a dick.
And why does he have a G3A3? That what? Why? There's no reason that I can think of. But I liked seeing it. It's a cool gun. But it was the wrong gun. It was the wrong choice. Somebody picked it because it was bigger than the M16. And they were like, you got to have the biggest gun. Get the biggest gun.
I want to go live where that movie opens up. That lake that he shows up to find his friend. I was like, man, I want to live there. Wherever that is, that's where I want to live. That's a good place for a soldier to relax.
If you don't mind a little more varied weather and hills instead of mountains, where I live is essentially this movie. Like when he's taking that town at the end, I'm like, oh, that's where I live. He just blew up my town.
That's also where, you know, what's his name goes to get supplies to build his model town up in the attic.
In Beetlejuice, yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
that's where I live.
Small town.
Yeah. So come visit. It's small. We have very few things.
You have like 4 street lights and a sidewalk.
We do have an Applebee's.
Nice.
At least we did before the pandemic. I haven't been in a while to see if it's still there, but
I have 4 Wawas on my front lawn.
You can probably get delivery of any food to your house.
I fall out my front door, I'm in a Wegmans. It's like ridiculous. I don't know if
Do you have like Indian delivery 24 hours a day out there?
They have all kinds of Thai, Vietnamese.
Yes, we have all cultures here making food and delivering it. Yes.
We had a Thai restaurant and now we don't anymore.
What happened? What happened to it?
The kid graduated college that was managing it, and his parents decided to retire.
Oh, okay.
So it's
And
a
that
happy
one
story
guy,
for
and that was
everyone
it?
but me. Now I don't get Thai food.
That sucks. Yeah, we have like the mom and pop Thai, and then we have like the cookie cutter franchise Thai.
We have
Like,
back alley
yeah,
Thai, dude.
and we have back alley
It's good
Thai.
shit.
There's a
I just got a text from my sister.
my
No,
okay.
not your wife. Natalie.
Hmm.
I'm cracking up laughing right now. Just looked at the podcast, and I have to admit, I have never seen any of these films you watched. Cheers to being sheltered.
Oh my.
Wow, we got to get her on too.
Well, now she can catch up
guess.
by watching all these movies.
Yeah.
Sheltered. Nothing wrong with that.
I did my part. My wife watched First Blood last night.
There
So,
you go.
First time.
My wife watched the first 10 minutes of Silence of the Lambs.
How do you watch 10 minutes and not watch the rest of that movie?
I just watched. It was really late, and I just
Mm.
wanted to watch the first scene with
Lecter.
Lecter.
Dr.
yeah.
Lecter?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I think I watched that movie twice while I've been sitting here in my head.
I just looked at the time to see if I could fit in one tonight before bed. I was like, ooh, I
Yeah.
could go for a silence right now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see Clarice deliver the line about the survey.
Oh,
Yes.
it's my
That's
favorite
where
part.
That's
Oh,
what I
yes.
wanted to get to.
She's just like holding back the vomit. She's like, what have I done? Oh.
Yeah. Can't put that back in.
I need to find more Jodie Foster movies. Like, she's such a great actress. I want to see her do that thing.
You
in
know what's a
other
good
movies.
movie? Panic Room.
I've heard good things. I've never seen it.
If you like that kind of movie, like a home invasion type thing, she's very good in it. And the supporting cast, it's got like Forrest Whitaker and Jared Leto and all these people in it that are, everybody's good, even the kid. So yeah, I recommend that. I wouldn't put it in our podcast because it's not like, you know, up there with the movie that everybody has seen, but it's definitely a good movie with her in it.
Did I tell you guys that Silence of the Lambs
Is your favorite movie of all time?
might be my favorite movie of all time?
We did that. I'm so happy because
It's
that's one of my movies.
A masterpiece.
That's
It's so good.
That's one of my top 10 easily.
When I like that weeks later, it's still like living in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
And it will.
That's a good sign.
And when you watch it for like the 10th time, you're going to go, holy shit, that's Mrs. Littman's son.
I got to read the book, man. It's on my list of stuff to do. I got a
And
lot
she's
to
in the
do.
bathtub.
But that's definitely her in the bathtub.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he's the son. But it definitely is a psycho kind of thing. But
Well, I tried to cameo him just so he could tell you that he's Mrs. Littman's son. But I'm not on Cameo, so
Oh man, maybe
he's
soon.
not on there soon. Someday.
Jeez, I watched Species today, which I don't know if I'd ever actually seen. And let me tell you, that might be the way to get me to watch more sci-fi.
Yeah.
That's a fun movie, and Forrest Whitaker's in that too. He's in
Yes,
everything.
he is.
Love Forrest Whitaker.
He that and what's his name? Is it oh God, what's his name? Madison?
Oh, Madsen.
Madsen. Yeah. He's Mr. Black or Mr. Red or whatever from Reservoir Dogs. What
You know-
color is he?
You know, it's funny.
What?
All my tools.
You
Right.
name them Mr. Black?
No,
Oh.
check it out. Each guy has like a different color electrical tape like wrapped around their tools so that we can tell whose tools are whose.
Yeah.
And I put pink tape on mine. So I'm Mr. Pink.
Nice.
It's good stuff.
I like it.
Well, I guess
like
that clears it up when the record executive comes by and goes, and by the way, which one's pink? We all know. It's George.
It's George. Yeah. No, Species is good. Nice nice balance of aliens and boobs.
What?
boobs.
There were boobs in that?
Yeah. They're on the poster.
It's a good movie on its own merits.
The only thing I don't know if we'll watch it. I didn't like the whole mating thing. It kind of was a subplot. I wasn't.
Whatever.
I wish they would have done like I just it almost had like a rom-com kind of feel when she was trying to trap these guys.
Oh no,
I don't
it's a kind of a sucky movie.
Yeah.
But if you want me to watch sci-fi, that's how you make sci-fi that I'll watch.
Okay.
That's why I'm gonna make you guys watch Invasion of the Bee Girls one of these days.
As long as we watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers first.
Okay, I guess.
Okay.
That's fine.
The Bee Girls. Is that with Brink Stevens or?
No, this is from the 70s. Well, George, you've seen How to Die Hardly. You've seen How to Blood Firstly.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for your next adventure?
Absolutely.
Do you feel young by any chance, or do you feel old?
Do I feel? I mean, in some ways, I
mean,
feel
like
young.
right now, are you feeling young, or are you feeling old?
Young.
Well, good. Because next week, you're going to be headed to No Country for Old Men. So you'll be fine because you're young. But there's No Country for Old Men, and that's where
so
we're
I'm
going.
Screwed. I'm screwed.
Travis has never seen this movie, right?
I have not seen this movie.
Double debut. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
this, George?
I think that we inadvertently
Flipped
it on
table?
Travis because I have seen this movie.
What?
I love this movie.
What? Yay! I think we talked about doing this a few weeks ago, and I'm just
We
glad.
did. We
Yeah.
I'm
we
glad
talked
that it's
about
happening because every now and then Travis has to see something new.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's, like I said, I got married at some point, so there's some movies I haven't seen.
so. Travis will be the student next week.
Does that mean I have to wait till the night?
I'll
I'll do it on the night.
I'll still be the student though.
No, it's fine. I'll
We'll both be students.
give my opinion.
from Dan, but yeah, I like this movie.
as long as Travis likes it.
You don't have to like it.
No, but I mean,
We'll beat you
I
over the
get-
head with it if you don't.
okay. I'm assuming
That'd
I
be
will
good.
because I mean it's supposedly a phenomenal movie, so I'm not really worried about that.
I mean, you can't trust people.
Definitely watch it with your son.
Yeah,
I don't know. The full penetrative sex might be a bit much.
it's probably really
I'm
gory.
I'm shaking
Yeah.
my head no.
Okay. he's
No,
telling
actually,
me now.
you could totally watch it with your kid. It's good.
Yeah, but is he queasy?
I don't.
Is there a reason to be queasy?
Nah,
He's looking at me like, yeah, there's like heads rolling
It's
down
like
the steps.
it's like the old Hitchcock.
Okay.
You know, what you imagine in your head is much worse.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
good.
no, he'll be fine. This is one I'll watch it again this week just to make sure. But in my head, this is like, hey, I've got a 12-year-old boy and he likes movies. He's watching this movie.
Okay.
I think that's about when you could do it. It's less graphic than any Jason movie. That's for damn sure.
Well, when your son tells you he didn't like Halloween, it's time to hang it up.
Right. Yeah.
Did you tell him
Again,
the story about how
I-
you tried to stab a guy? He might have liked it better then.
I never tried to stab him.
Did you tell him the story about how you found a dead body?
No, I couldn't get through it. He talked the whole time,
Oh, man.
both ways.
You're going to thank us for
It'll be
showing you
fun.
this movie. Or you're going to hate us for making you watch Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4, No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, no. If that's the case, if old eyebrows comes back, we're gonna have a problem.
Old eyebrows.
Is eyebrows in any of the new ones?
I mean, a lot
Yes.
of the people have eyebrows. Actually, in Part 3, his character is around in a coma,
Did
wearing
they visit him in jail?
He, like, communicates through telepathy with a blind girl in a mental asylum.
Holy shit! It's the plot of Friday 7.
It's so much worse, though. It's so much shittier. And then he eventually, of course, wakes up because Santa Claus comes in to the ward. And he's walking around in, like, a hospital gown with, like, an upside-down bowl on his head, like a glass bowl. What? And they're like, oh, we put his brain back together after the bullet ripped it up. I'm like, this movie sucks. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us once again on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. We'll see you back in 2 weeks for No Country for Old Men. Luckily, not a Silent Night, Deadly Night sequel. My goodness. In the meantime, look us up on the Facebook group, the Remedial Film Class Podcast Extra Credit Discussion Group. You can also find us just at the Remedial Film Class Podcast page on Facebook. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Remedial Film Pod. You can also email us at remedialfilmpod@gmail.com. We'll see you back here real soon, friendo.